What's up, everybody? Can you guys hear me? Nice. How's it going, everybody? Thought I'd jump on here and do some stuff. How's everybody's day? I think today I have the latency set to low, so the time between when I say something and I get your chats back, it's a little more delayed than last time, but hopefully that means this time the actual quality that you guys are seeing is better. I know sometimes it can be kind of hard to see the interface of After Effects because it's so small on screen, but yeah. All right. So we actually have some questions right off the bat. And I've got this fancy new little thing where I can put them right on the screen. Okay. Zerd asks, is there any chance that you'll make a tutorial on how to make a rig for the character with rotating parts, body rotation, like in your recent community posts? Just so everybody knows what he's talking about, let's go to my community. Let me switch to the browser. Sure. Let's see what other questions we got here. No fear. Hi there. Your channel really did help me a lot. Thank you. No problem, man. Oh. Is there audio now? There should be audio now. Shoot. What happened to my audio? Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. Sorry, I don't know why. I'm gonna try to go to the browser one more time and see if it turns off my audio. You guys should still be able to hear me. I don't know why. Sometimes when I switch scenes, it like turns off my audio. That's weird. All right, let me catch up on some of these messages you guys are sending me. Is this the definitive video for creating the best characters? Well, I don't know if it's the definitive one, but I'm going to just go through how I kind of generally approach creating character rigs. I'm going to try to do it in the simplest way possible. Obviously, there's a lot to character rigs that I'm not going to be able to fit in this live stream, but hopefully after this live stream, you'll kind of have a general sense of like if you want to rig up a character, you can kind of follow this process and you can get a pretty decent character rig out of it. Yeah, Edward, I'm kind of playing around with what to do with live streams after I've live stream. And the whole point of the live stream, obviously, is like I like to be able to answer questions in real time. And so, but I think it's also worth putting up the live stream later. Although on my last live stream, somebody commented that was like, because it was a long live stream and they were just basically like huffing and puffing that for 2.5 hours, all I taught was you do this and this and this. And I'm like, well, yeah, you hit the bullet points, but like somebody's not going to be able to do what I show just by your comment, just by describing it. So I don't know. But I do want to. Um, I might put live streams in a playlist that you can find, but they might not be like necessarily public on my channel. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Sounds like I'm on a different mic now. Man, I don't know what is going on. Let me check which mic I'm using here. Hello, hello. Yeah, it should be the right mic. Oh, I have like two. Let me mute that one. Okay, how's this one sound? Mic face sounds a little off. Yeah, I did. I had two mics going off. McHale, I agree. Limber, it's funny because I really want to spend more time with Limber, showing people what you can do with Limber. But people are just really wanting to learn Duik, you know? And like Duik as a package comes with so much more than Limber, obviously. Like Duik is not just character rigging, it's like a whole animation tool set. There's so much to Duik. I don't even know everything you can do with Duik. But like character rigging with Duik is like one small part of what Duik can do. And there's definitely things in Duik that I use a lot, even when I'm using Limber to rig. But in terms of like just a speedy, like get you up and running rig, there's nothing better than Limber, in my opinion. If you guys want to check out Limber, there's a link in the description. You can go check it out. Yeah, thanks, Future Cortex. I had a little bit of a mic issue. I had it open on two different settings, so. Does Duik have perspective features? That's a good question. Not like Limber, for sure. Not like Limber. I think you could do some kind of perspective, like foreshortening, like like this. You know how this is called foreshortening when you're, but it would take a lot more work. Edward, what tools am I going to use today? Yes, Illustrator for sure. After Effects, obviously. And then I think I'm going to stick with Duik for this one. Because this is just your like basic, like if you're just getting into character rigging and animation, I want to show you how you can do this without having to spend the money on like Limber or something like that. And because Duik is available to download for free, you can get Duik and you can start using it. And I think a lot of the tutorials on how to use Duik out there are way too complicated. So I just want to kind of simplify the process as much as I can. What is the difference between Limber and Duik? Well, first, the biggest difference is that Limber actually creates a workable limb for you. So you hit a button, you get 3 layers, you get 2 control layers that control the top and the bottom or the both ends of your limb. So, for example, if you want to create an arm, you have a controller for the shoulder that you can parent to a torso layer or whatever. You have a wrist layer that you can use to animate the motion of the arm. And then you'll get a shape layer that makes up the actual artwork of your arm. And then you can customize that shape layer in a bunch of different ways, or you can just use, the default shape layer. Duik, on the other hand, doesn't have that feature. You have to create your limbs in usually, at the very least, 3 different layers. So you have to create the artwork layer for the arm, the forearm, which is this part of, let me see, this part of the arm, and then the hand. Then you have to kind of move around the anchor points, and then you can use the auto rig, and you can tell Duik that you want to do an IK rig, and you can rig that up. Or you can do it like they do it in 3D animation software, where you can set up bones and then parent your art layers to those bones, which I think is a little complicated. So I just usually rig up the layers themselves. Also, Duik comes with a bunch of other tools, right? They go well beyond just like character rigging. It has animation tools. Like you can trigger certain animations with tags. Duik has what I call, well, it's not what I call it. It's called a connector, which I think is Duik's most useful tool. If you've ever looked at something like joysticks and sliders, which is not a full character rigging tool, but it is it's for like setting up certain type of head rigs. Duik can also do that. So like Duik, in terms of a full package, has a lot more features than Limber. Limber is simply just for creating the limbs of a character rig. Duik also has like a rig for the body, stuff like that. So Duik is free technically. You should donate if you use Duik professionally, but you can download it without purchasing it. Limber is not free. Although you can do a 7-day trial with Limber, has all the features. It just expires after 7 days. Link in the description for Limber if you want to go check it out. I don't have a link for Duik in the description, unfortunately. So Future Cortex, yeah, Limber. If you go watch my last live stream where I let me just do this. Let me show you. For whatever reason, okay, you guys can hear me, but I'm pretty sure. So Limber, you can do stuff like this. Right? So this stuff, not possible in Duik, I don't think. Without a lot more work, in my opinion. Man, you guys got a lot of questions. No, Edward. I think today I'm just gonna use Duik, unless everybody wants me to use Limber, because honestly, it'll be a lot quicker. But I think for today, I was planning on just showing you how I set up characters for Duik, because it is a little bit more complicated. There's a little bit more need to know knowledge for how to draw out a character, so that when you bring it into After Effects, or if you're doing it in After Effects, using Duik to rig that up is easy. No future. I just did the legs and the feet. I just showed you how I did that. I actually did. It took me about 20 hours to do that animation, which I think is pretty awesome. And it's one of the reasons why I love After Effects. If I was trying to hand draw that, first of all, I couldn't because I'm not good at frame by frame animation. But let's say in some alternate universe where I was really good at frame by frame animation, that would have taken me probably like 80 hours, would be my guess. Okay, did I miss any questions? Can you guys hear the music still? Okay, cool. Sorry for the pause. It really takes a while for me to do. Have you tried creating character in Procreate? Well, actually, I'm going to use Procreate to kind of just like sketch something out, but no, I haven't ever animated in Procreate. Also, well, you could create a character in Procreate and then rig it in Duik. It would just have to be you just have to use the puppet pins, rig those up. Yeah, Mikhail. This is true. I'd also say also the tool that I use to that I usually choose to use for a character rig kind of depends on the artwork and what is just going to be easiest. Because sometimes I don't design the character, right? I'm just handed a character artwork and it's already like posed out in Illustrator by a designer, and then I have to then like convert it to a Duik rig. That is something I'll show in a future live stream. Probably is like I'll just be like I'll show you how I get a character design and how I decide how to break it up and stuff like that, because sometimes you have to make compromises on the character design in order to make it work for Duik. So I want to go over like what are those points where you have to like compromise on the character design, or sometimes there's certain aspects of a character design. How do I include this in the animation? The animations you do with Duik, can you place them for other characters so that you don't have to redo the whole animation? I think this is possible. In fact, I think this will be even more possible in the next version of Duik. Don't quote me on that though, because, but like there are tools out there. I don't know specifically for Duik, but I know there's there's like a script you can buy on aescripts.com. I think it's called Body Moving, but it might not be called that. This is something I should probably know, but there's a script where you can save animations and you can apply them to other rigs. Or you can, because like for example, like walk cycle. I don't know how many times I've had to animate a walk cycle, and you just go through the same. You're going through the same exact like steps, and then you kind of alter the end steps a little bit to make it more unique for a specific animation. It's not called Body Moving. It is called. Let's see. It's not this one. This one is for something else, but Character animation. I have a video about Bao Bones if you guys are interested. It's not it's different from Limber or Duik, but it's also for character animation. It's pretty good, especially if you have like artwork from Photoshop that you just need to distort. Bao Bones is the one to go for. Oh, I think it's called Rigomator. Rigomator? I don't know how to say that. It is compatible with... I wonder if they have a list of all the... I know it's compatible with Rubber Hose. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's compatible with Duik. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Compatible with Duik, Rubber Hose, Limber, and joysticks and sliders. So basically what this is like a tool for saving animations and then applying to a different rig. So anyway, there you go. That is your answer. It is... Oops, I just opened... This is. You have any ideas on what my own After Effects plugin would be? I actually have some ideas for plugins, but I don't know anybody to make them because I'm not a programmer. So if you guys know somebody who wants to get into the plugin business, hit me up. Is Limber free? No, Wayne, it is not free. It is $40 though, which, to be honest, the amount of time it will save you is worth that $40, let me tell you. All right, should we get started? Let's get started. Where can you get Take Shape? Like I said in the last live stream, if you just message me on Instagram, I will email you a copy of that script. As long as you're willing to give me some feedback on it. All right, let's get started. So, what I'm hoping to get from you guys is a little bit of a prompt on what kind of character to create. What kind of character? Duik has it worked for text animations? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like the keyframe cleaner in there. Like, there's all kinds of tools that come with Duik that you can use to make your animations better. Oh, let me fix the mic. There, that should be better. Thanks for the reminder on the mic phase, Future Cortex. Yeah, it's something when I go to the browser window, the audio is not set up correctly. I'll have to fix that for next time, but hopefully you guys... My dog is barking. Okay. Well, let's get started. I need some ideas on what kind of character to make. I agree, Future Cortex. I agree. Okay, guys, hold on a second. I'm going to go quiet my dog down. While I'm away, yeah, send me some ideas for the kind of character rig I should make. I'll be right back. I got to just get my dog to stop barking. Okay. Dog was barking at the road. A buff snowman? I don't know what you mean by this. You'll have to clarify. Pokemon Flash rigging, bro. I don't know what that means. Okay, let me just open up a little Illustrator window here. All right. There we go. Still no sound? I don't know what is going on with these transitions. Here's what I'm going to do. gonna mute that. Go back over here. Okay. Sorry guys, we're having issues with the mic today. Apologize. Apologies. The mic settings are all whacked up. All right. Somebody said a buff, small head, big arms guy. Let's do that. Let's just do a... I'm going to do a small head, big arms, big legs guy. So, I usually like to start with just the body. And I also like to just start with outlines. So I'm just going to make the body here, like the shoulders. I'm going to make the torso like kind of short. Kind of clothes should this guy be wearing? Like a tank top? Let's do a tank top. And actually, I'm going to turn off the outlines. This character is not going to have any outlines because that's the whole thing to deal with. Nice. Kind of like the music a little bit. Just as long as the music's not coming in through the mic too. That's why I have it so low. All right. I think I'm going to do like a... little tank top here. Oops. I like to reduce my shapes down to as like little amount of anchor points as possible. And also we're going to be doing a 3/4 view. So it's not going to be straight on. So, oops. I don't want to... It's pretty good. I kind of like to just block out my characters first, then I'll add the detail later. So like the head, I just like to block it out. How'd you do that cutout thing? This guy right here. Oops, sorry. This guy. The shape builder. You can... I'll just show you. So I have two shapes here, right? And I'll just change these so you can see that they're two shapes. Make this easier to see. Okay, I have two shapes here. I can use this, and if I don't hit anything on the keyboard, I can just combine them into one shape. Or if I hold Alt, or I think Command on the Mac, you can erase parts, build your shapes out that way. I actually have a video on my channel that talks about better ways to illustrate if you're not an illustrator. Oh, you know what I didn't set up. I wonder if this will just work off the bat. I forgot to whoops. I forgot to set up my hotkeys. So you guys can see, oh, there we go. So you guys can see what I'm doing. Should put some hair on his chest. That is an awful swirl. I do not like that at all. I'll do that later. It's the only thing with this hotkey call out is it calls out whenever I'm holding space to like move my thing around. But whatever. Okay, I'm gonna group that. I feel like his head's too big, right? Like we were gonna make a small head guy. And obviously the neck was... Okay. Should we be wearing shorts or what? I think he should. Notice how I'm not using color, because I don't like to deal with color at this point. Okay. All right. So here's how I tackle, usually how I do a limb. So we're going to do this leg right here. So on a 3/4 view, I'm going to decide how thick the leg's going to be. And I'm going to line it up right with the bottom of the hips here. I'm going to line up the middle of this circle, which is going to be the hip rotation, right with the bottom of this, so that when we rotate it, well, you'll see when we get further down the line. Okay, ankle obviously needs to be way shorter. And actually, I want the knee and the ankle to be the same. Take all 3 of these. I'm going to go over to the align panel. Make sure they're all evenly spaced. And I'm going to make my short leg. And I'm just drawing this right through the middle of that circle because I want that circle to be the knee joint, right? Okay, and we need this to be okay, that's the ankle. We are going to group this. We have and that is going to be grouped. So your upper leg, this is what it should look like. lower leg. Simply two shapes like this. And we can do the foot. And he's going to be wearing some sneakers. In fact, before we start, actually gonna copy and paste this, and let's do this. Oops. Slightly bigger. We're gonna put some socks on him. I know you can not see that because it's on white, but let's see. Okay. I don't know where that came from. Let's make those sneakers. So again, the sneakers, I'm going to go right through the middle of that circle. I don't know why I did that. Let's see. Okay, we got our leg. I could add some more detail in here, but I think just for this, I'm not going to add any detail for this demonstration. Let's do the arm. Arm is going to be the same process. Let's start with the circle. Let's do it right there. Let's do that. Okay, yeah, that blends in real nice. Then we're going to, I'm actually going to make this a little bit smaller. Wrist. Come over here and, oh, you guys can't, oh yeah, you can. Okay, good. I'm just going to group these so I can work on them. Again, I'm just going through the center of every circle so that when I rotate my joints, it's all kosher, baby. For the fingers, or for the hand, I'm actually gonna do the hand. Maybe I'll do a hand rig while we're at it. Show you guys how I do that. Does anybody know why cartoon characters only have 4 fingers? 3 and 1 thumb? These fingers are a little too curved, but I don't like that. I'm gonna look at your first question. Oh shoot, I can't. Oh, Zerd. Okay, let me try it again. So you asked about if I'm going to make a tutorial on body turning, and I was wondering if you meant this guy right here. Like, see how his body turns a little bit? Is that what you were meaning? That was all I was asking when I was over there. Back to Illustrator. Okay, I'm just doing the face real quick. So yeah, Zerd, you will, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a character character turn. I'm actually making a whole course on like creating dynamic character rigs. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. But I will be posting a tutorial on that as well. Okay. Should you have hair? To draw in Illustrator, do you find it easier with a mouse or with a graphics tablet? For the kind of artwork that most character rigs require, I find it easier with a mouse. Although I do sometimes like to like sketch out my character rigs in something like Procreate on the iPad, just to kind of get the shapes and whatnot. But once I have kind of what I want the character rig to look like, it's easy just to block it out with shapes in Illustrator. I don't have a graphics tablet, so. Okay, guys, we are almost ready to bring this over into After Effects and start rigging it. I just want to make sure if I do that. Okay, good. Okay, so you'll notice that I've only done one arm and one leg. Any guesses why? It's because I don't want to have to redo everything twice. I can just duplicate what I've already done for the other legs and arms. Sorry I didn't give you guys a chance to answer that question, but we're about plugging along here. So obviously this character is like super flat, right? It's like gray. So maybe I should just color this up. Add some color in. For whatever reason, the way that the screen capture works, it doesn't capture this little window that pops up when I want to do pick a color. Sorry. By the way, little Illustrator tip for everybody: if you are ever wanting to grab like a shape that's already in a group, you know, and you don't want to have to like double click to go into the group to grab the shape, you can use this tool right here and you can just grab it and then you can change the color of it. Maybe do like a little orange top here. Whoa, that is not a good color. Neither is that. I don't love that color, but maybe I'll make the shoes like orange so they stand out. Oh, you know what? I'm going to redo the shoes. I'm going to do a different shape. Didn't want to do that. Yeah, for sure, Sean. Once I'm done with this foot, I'll go back over that. Okay. So here's the hip. Okay, so you have the hip right here, right? Which is just the part where your hip connects to the body. Then you have the leg, or the thigh, I guess is what I like to call it. Thigh is made up of a bunch of different shapes. Basically, it's made up of a circle up here and a circle for the knee. And then you have the rectangles that connect them. In this case, there's two rectangles because we're trying to give this guy some shorts. But you could also, if you're doing like pants, you could just do one rectangle from this knee all the way up to the hip. Then for the calf, you got the rectangle that connects, and it goes right through the center of that circle on the knee. And then it goes right through the center of the circle for the ankle. Well, sometimes I include the ankle circle in the foot layer, and sometimes I do it in the calf layer. In this, I'm just going to keep it with the calf. But these are the shapes that are making up the calf. And you'll see there's 2 circles here because I originally had that as the main circle. But so you have rectangle. This rectangle goes through the center of the knee, and then it goes through the center of the ankle. And then the shoe should go through the center of the ankle because we want the shoe, that's not exactly the center, but we want the shoe to rotate around that ankle. And these 2 should be grouped. Okay, so I think we're about ready to jump into After Effects and start rigging this puppy up. What? Where is that window? Sorry guys, I don't know where that window is and why I can't get rid of it. Okay. So now, man, why is it doing this? All right. We got ourselves a new composition. And I'm going to go back to Illustrator and I'm going to do one more thing. Change my artboards. There we go. I'm just changing my artboard in Illustrator to be the same as in After Effects, my composition. Just so when I bring these over with Overlord, they'll just be in the right spot. So I'll go ahead and start. And unfortunately, you guys can't see me use this Overlord, but if you have never used Overlord before, you've got to get Overlord. I'm telling you, it is legit. And Overlord will bring over groups of shapes in Illustrator. It'll bring it to After Effects as a one single shape layer. I'll show you. I've brought over the hips and the torso. There we go. And then I'm going to reposition the anchor point of the torso and reposition the anchor point of the hip. And I'm going to parent my hip to my torso so that the torso will be kind of the driving, be kind of the trunk of the tree. I don't know what you mean. I definitely do separate into layers, but I don't separate. Well, oh, I think I know what you mean. If you mean, oh, Michael, thanks for subscribing. Don't know if you're watching, but if you are, thanks. If you mean to bring Illustrator artwork over into After Effects, you would separate the paths in After Effects into their own layers, so then you can import the Illustrator file as a composition with retaining layer sizes, and then you could then have all the separate layers, Illustrator layers, in After Effects. That is the traditional way to bring Illustrator files into After Effects. However, I'm using Overlord, which skips all that and just imports the shapes from Illustrator directly into After Effects as a shape layer. So I don't need to separate them into different layers. I just need to select them, and like this, for example. If I grab the head here and the mouth, and actually let me switch to the screen capture. So you got this Illustrator here. Everything I have selected, I just hit this button. And then when I go to After Effects, it doesn't work. It's perfect. Just kidding. Let me go back to Illustrator. Okay, there we go. See, now I have a shape layer here. That is the head. And I don't have to separate into layers. So, that's why I love Overlord. And if you want to check out Overlord, I left a link in the description of this video. You can go check it out. It's from Battle Axe. They got lots of great tools. Overlord is a must-have. I can't live without Overlord. Okay? All right. And we are going to turn that back off. Sorry, you're not going to be able to see Overlord anymore because that's just the way it is, okay? All right. Let's rig up our arm here. I'm gonna separate, so I'm gonna import each of these. I'm gonna import each of these as separate layers, each section of the limb as a separate layer. So right now I have this, and I'm going to push it over to After Effects as its separate layer. And I'm going to grab the forearm here, push it to After Effects, and I'm pressing a button right here that you guys cannot see, unfortunately, but it's Overlord. And then I'm going to grab the hand here, and I'm going to push that to After Effects. Now, if we go over to After Effects, I got my arm here. And actually, let's there we go. Now you can see my arm here. Now, before I rig it up, I need to move the anchor points to the center of each joint. So this is why I like to use those circles, because with After Effects I hold control, it'll put that anchor point right in the center of that circle, which is my shoulder. And then for the arm, for this arm, forearm, you don't have that circle, but I know that I drew this rectangle right through the middle of the elbow circle, this circle right here. So I know if I just move that anchor point to that top middle, then it'll be right in the middle of that circle. Now, just to show you, to test this, if I rotate the forearm layer, if I rotate this forearm layer, you'll see that this corner rides perfectly along with this. Now, I'll give you guys another tip. If you ever move this anchor point and it's not quite in the center, let's say you forgot the circle or whatever, or your let's say you accidentally move this, right? And you're like, shoot, I need to get this right in the center of that circle. Well, first thing you can do is you can go like this, make sure that these two edges are lined up perfectly, and then rotate your arm 90 degrees. And you'll see that when I do that, there's this like little ledge right here. Just move that, and then move your anchor point right to the middle of that, of these two corners. And then I don't know why I'm doing that. And then line it up. So now it should follow right along there. Okay, so that's important. We're going to do the same thing with this, except for the wrist. Got that circle, so it just snaps right to the middle. Now we can rig up the thing, but first let me label my layers. Okay, now to rig up the arm, I need to select the layers in this order, starting from the hand and working my way up the limb. And I'm explaining that because sometimes, especially if you're working with artwork with outlines, your layers won't actually be they won't actually be in this order, right? So because I don't have any outlines, like I just select these in order from top to bottom. But sometimes you want your arm to be on top of your forearm in the layer stack, or you want your hand to actually be on the bottom of everything. But you need to select your layers in the order of hand, forearm, and then arm, because that tells Duik how to rig this limb up. It's telling Duik which layer is the goal or the end of this limb. So now that we have these rigged up, let's go over to Duik. And let's just hit that auto rig. It's doing its magic, and boom. We got a rigged limb, baby. Oh no, what's going on? Well, we just got to reverse the way in which it bends. Boom. But I forgot to do one thing before I did that, and that is to duplicate my layers before I rig them up. I should have done that. So I'm actually just going to duplicate these, move them below everything, and I'm going to remove the expressions. Let's see. Okay. So I duplicated those. Now I just got to do the same thing. Grab it from the hand to the forearm to the arm. Let me give you a close-up look at that. From the hand to the forearm to the arm. Let me give you another look at that. From the hand to the forearm to the arm. Okay, then I just hit auto rig, does its thing, and now I have two rigged arms. Boom. Now let's do the head. Forgot I was gonna put some hair on this guy, but whatever. And I'm going to label this head. Oops. And then I want to select the arm layers. You could also name these bicep to make them less confusing with just the arm. I think that's just the name that Duik likes, the guy who made Duik likes to name them, but you can name them bicep. So I'm going to grab both the biceps and I'm going to parent them to my torso. So now if I move around the torso, they're moving with it. Okay. Let's do the legs, shall we? Sorry, I keep messing with this foot because I want it to be different than it is, but it's just not working out. Okay. So let's bring the foot over. Little question here. Why do you prefer limber and not Duik for the arms and legs? Is limber much better? You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rig up this. Let me go back. I'm in Illustrator. I forgot. Sorry. I'm going to rig up this right leg with Duik, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with limber. Capiche? Okay. So I'm going to import this. I'm going to send that over to Illustrator. And again, for those who may have just joining, I'm using Overlord, which you can't see, but it sends these shapes over to After Effects as shape layers. And then I'll do the calf, and then I'll do the foot. And then let's head over to After Effects. And just like with the arm, I'm going to start with repositioning my anchor points. And I'm going to solo these so I'm not sticking my anchor point to other shape layers. Again, I know that this top middle of the where I put the anchor point is going to be right through the middle of the knee just because of the way I designed it in Illustrator. And with the foot, again, I'm using this layer's circle to place the anchor point of the foot, and you can always test it to make sure, you know, you'll never rotate the foot that far, but you can see the corner of the foot is lined up right with the ankle. Okay, and just like with the arm, we're going to select the limb starting with the foot, going up the thigh. And then I just hit auto rig. Boom. Now, I will note that when you rig a character this way without using the structure layers over here, you don't get the foot roll, heel, you don't get the foot controls. So depending on your artwork and depending on the level of detail you want in your animation, you might want those. So you might want to use the structure layer. But for the purposes of this live stream, I'm just trying to show you like a quick way to get up and running with a character rig. And then obviously, let's just leg, or let's label this thigh, calf, foot. And I'm going to duplicate these because I'm going to show you guys how to use this with Illustrator. Okay, so let's put these in the right order. Okay, so we got our working limb. Then we need to move our duplicated limb that is not yet rigged out of the way and behind. All right. Let me do limber now. So here's limber. And in order to rig up this leg, I need to separate out some of these shapes. So I'm actually not going to use that. So with Limber, what I'm going to do to start out is I'm going to, back in Illustrator, I'm pushing these 3 joints to After Effects. So now if I go into After Effects, solo these layers, I just have 3 circles, right? Represent my joints. Then I'll go back to Illustrator, and in Illustrator I will then grab the in-between layers, the rectangles that connect our joints, push them to After Effects. Okay, now we'll go back to After Effects. Here's our limb. It's made up of these 3 joints, which I will rename to hip, ankle, knee, and then calf and thigh. All right, so to rig up with Limber, here's the Limber panel. First, I know I'm doing a leg, so I'm going to actually switch this to a leg, which you can't see, but there's a little drop-down menu here that has arm and leg, and you actually create your own naming schemes for these. And then I will go to rig and pose in just a second, because I've got to make sure you guys can see this rig and pose. So let me just make sure I'm capturing it. There we go. Okay. So with rig and pose, you have all these drop downs to select layers. Right now it has none because I only had the thigh selected, so I'm gonna actually cancel, and I'm gonna select the layers in a specific order so that they load into that rig and pose correctly. So I'll start with the hip, the knee, the ankle, then the thigh, then the calf. Selecting it in that order. Doesn't matter what order it is in your timeline. What is going on here? Whew. Don't know what's going on there. All right. So let me do that again because we had something weird going on the screen. So hip, knee, ankle, then the thigh, then the calf. Now, if I go to rig and pose, having a, there we go. Jeez. Okay. It's weird the way that it captures these screens. Anyway, so now you can see I have the hip, thigh, knee, calf, ankle all loaded into the right things. I hit OK. And yes, this is the left limb. This is one of the reasons why I like Limber, is that it proactively tells you to name your layers, which you cannot see because it doesn't, the screen capture doesn't capture the windows that pop up. There's a little window here that says, please name your limb. I like Limber because it proactively tells you to label your layers. Now, let me turn off this weird thing that keeps happening. If we look at the timeline, it has turned off all my artwork layers from visibility, and I have 3 solo layers here that make up my limb. And it looks like I need to go in. I've never actually had it do this before, so this is interesting. I don't know why it's tapering this shape. Oh, I know how to fix this. Okay. We go to the ankle. Oh, but then it's... Oh. I've never had it do this before. Sorry if this is backtracking a little, but do you separate the knee, thigh, calf into separate layers in AI before bringing to AE? So yeah, Sean, we did go over this, but I'm happy to do it again. No. Okay, so depends. That's the real answer. So if you don't have Overlord, which is what I'm using to bring my Illustrator shapes into After Effects, then yes, you'll need to separate out your paths that you create in Illustrator to separate layers. Then you go into After Effects, you import the Illustrator file, you do import as a composition, and then you'll have all the different layers, and you'll have the thigh on one layer, you'll have the calf on one layer, and you'll have the shoe on one layer, or the arm, forearm, and hand, whatever limb you're creating. And if those parts of the arm are made up of multiple paths, you want all those paths to be on one layer. So yes, you do separate those, but again, because I'm using Overlord, which is an extension for Illustrator and After Effects, I just select the shapes that I want to create as shape layers in After Effects, and I just hit a button and it pushes it to After Effects, creates a shape layer with those same color fill, stroke color, and shape path, and I don't have to do all that separating into layers. So hopefully that answers your question. So anyways, back to this limber. Okay, well, we'll roll with it. I'll have to go back and watch this and see why or how I avoid that issue that I just had. I just wanted to show you guys how limber works so that, let's get this straight. Yeah, Sean, Overlord's not like required, but it's definitely, it saves you so much time. Ever since I have Overlord, I never have to import or separate. I don't have to import Illustrator files into After Effects, and I don't have to separate them into layers. It's a whole process that you don't have to do. You just select the shapes, boom. Yeah, I'm not really happy with this limb because something happened here. I'll have to play with that later, but for now, we're just going to duplicate this Duick limb. And I'm going to remove... Because I'm duplicating this other artwork, I don't have to reposition anchor points. They're already in the right spot. I just need to select these in the right order, right? So foot first, calf, and then thigh. Then we'll go over to Duick. Hit that auto rig, baby. And then we got to take the thigh, both thigh layers right here, and parent them to the hips, which is parented to the torso. So now I move this guy around, everything works. Now I could do something like where is the walk cycle? What plugin script do you use to delete all expressions at once? It's this little plugin right here called Mobar. I don't know how much I should talk about it, only because I don't even know if it's out yet, but I got contacted by the creator of it, and he wants me to do a video about it on my YouTube channel, but I'm still kind of evaluating it. But so far, so good. It's called Mobar. It's got a lot of little like tools that just like make it so you don't have to dig into layers as much. And one of the ones that I've really found helpful is this one right here. Let's see if you can see it better. This one right here, which just disables, if you just have a layer selected and you press this, it just disables the expression, so you can go in and modify things, especially if you have expressions applied to a shape path. You can't modify a shape path if you have an expression applied. So I can just hit this little button right here. It disables the expression. So this is nice for when you are morphing things. I wish I had a link to Mobar. I don't, unfortunately. But as soon as I get that, I will post it in the description, or in a future live stream I'll have it. But lots of useful tools here. And this whole section right here is like a favorites section. So all these other tools, unfortunately, you can't really see. There's a little like menu right here that pops out when you select these with a bunch of different things. And like this adds a guide to the top of your layer. So, but you guys can't see those. I got to figure out how to make that work. I don't know why the live streaming software doesn't like to catch these other screens. Is it just a Streamlabs thing? That's what I'm using. I wonder if I use OBS, it would be better, but I doubt it. Okay. Completely bonkers. Thanks for subscribing. So obviously, guys, this character artwork is not like the most amazing. I just whipped it up. But the whole purpose of this was just to show you like a quick way to... a quick process for creating character rigs using Duick. You know, now I can move this around and rotate the head. Now, if I wanted to, come over here, put this comp in another comp. And before I do what I was just about to do, I'm going to add some controllers to the head. and the neck. And the torso. Okay. Then with this composition embedded in another composition, I can come over here to extract. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I just want to make sure. I don't want to use expressions. I want to use master property. Extract this puppy. And now look, my timeline just has the expressions, all the artwork's inside the comp. I can now grab these and animate my character. How cool is that? And you know what else is cool about this? Is I can go into another composition with this original composition embedded, and I can extract again. Watch what happens. We'll crouch this guy down. So there's this one. There's this one. They're both using the same character rig from Comp 1, but yet I can do different things with them without affecting the other because it's using master properties. So this is cool because you can create a character rig once, and then you can reanimate it to do several different things instead of every time you want to do a new scene or something, you have to re-rig everything up. So that's what's cool about this extract feature. And by the way, this only works if you... Gosh, dang it. Sorry, guys. This really is a bummer because there's a little window right here that I just pulled up that says extract controllers. Master properties is what I'm using, but you can also use expressions to link the controllers across comps. The reason why you would use expressions rather than master properties is because it would be faster than master properties, but you wouldn't be able to duplicate the rig and do different animations. You'd have to actually physically duplicate the original composition and then extract its controllers. Hopefully that makes sense, but thanks, Sean. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Okay, so Danny's got a question here. With Limber, can you do what physical effects, for example, the bouncing of the cheeks, or in the case of a woman, the bobbing of the head? And then he follows up, he or she, I don't know. You follow up with, when I talk about physical effects, is there a way to make it automatic without having to animate it myself? So what you're talking about is called secondary animation. And it's things like, you know, if you're animating the body, you know, the head bounces or like the hair flops as it bounces, stuff like that. Limber doesn't really facilitate that. It's just to create the limbs and to have full control over the limbs. But there's no like animation tools like Duik has. But to answer your question, yes, there is a ways to make it automatic. There's a tool called character swinging tool that helps, that makes, you can use that to kind of make secondary animations like that automatic. I know motion, this tool right here, it has some stuff that you can use for things like wavy hair, like where is it? This cloth tool right here you can use to, like, you can parent the layer to your head and then animate the head and then use pins that will automatically react to it. So maybe in the future I'll do a tutorial about how to do that. Okay, so before we wrap up here, I'm gonna just add a walk cycle this puppy. So let's go over to the animation tab and let's do walk cycle. Oops. Don't want to do that. Let's get rid of the animation cycle. We gotta set up the walk cycle first, which means we gotta just tell After Effects which layer is which. Interesting. It's not going to let me do it with just... Okay. Guess we're going to do it in here. Why is it not... Torso, hips. Guess I gotta select the layers. Sorry, that's going to be annoying. Let me mute my desktop audio and my mic. All right. We got ourselves a walk cycle. What do you guys think? I mean, there's obviously things I need to fix, but for something simple, it's pretty good. All right. Any questions, guys, about what I did today and anything that wasn't clear? Sounds like I need to do a video about Limber, because I got a lot of questions from you guys about, you know, why I think Limber is better than Duik. Maybe that's a good idea for a YouTube video tutorial. Obviously, my character's arms are like kind of weird. Wonder if I can go into the layer itself and let's have him like, just to make this more interesting, like he's holding a phone or something. Oops. Seems as I have totally there we go. Boom. Appreciate ya. Danny, this is a big one. This is a big one. You mean like how I organize my project panel and everything, or how I organize my layers, or both? There's our animation. Both? Okay. I'll think about how I'd explain that. To the 10 of you who are still viewing, I have some questions about the live stream, if you don't mind. Because, well, let me just hit you guys with some thoughts, and you let me know in the chat what you think. So, I like doing these live streams. Oh, I just got 3 more viewers. So right now I'm just asking the viewers about the live stream. How do we make these more productive? Do you guys like this little chat thing where I can put up chat messages like this? So you guys can see the message that I'm reading, and then the question remains up on the screen as I'm answering it. So that if you pop into the stream, this is my thought process, so that if you pop into the stream and I'm in the middle of an answer, or I'm in the middle of answering a question, you have the question right there on the screen. Just to give some context to what I'm talking about. A lot of really good comments today, by the way, guys. I don't know. Like, for example, this question right now I'm about to answer. Or, oops. Spoofy Ghost. I appreciate them a lot. I think they're a good idea, personally. I'm assuming you mean the comments popping up on the screen. Ario asks, can I rig with Limber and Duick? Well, yeah. You could do the arms with Duick and the legs with Limber, or vice versa. I'm trying to think what other ways your question could be interpreted? And other ways you're thinking. So, okay, so here's another way, just based on the comment that you just put in the chat that I'll put up on the screen in just a second. But another thing is, sometimes, well, actually, most of the time I use Limber for my character rigs. However, I do use Duik in almost every character rig, just not for the limbs. I use the connector feature. I use other things that Duik has that has nothing to do with actually rigging up a layer. Yeah. So yes, I can use Limber and Duik together. Now, to answer your next question, to export the controllers just like you did with the character and the different pre-comp, will it work? Yes. In fact, let's show you how to do it. This is a great question. I'm going to open up another project file. Okay. Let me show you guys this product file. So this is a little character I made today. I posted the GIF of this on my community tab. If you're not subscribed to the community tab, every Wednesday I post a work in progress, something I'm just trying out, little experimentations. A lot of those I'm using Limber, and I get a lot of questions about Limber. So I think I just need to bite the bullet and do some tutorials about Limber. But in the case of this particular character rig, you know I'm using Limber because of the icons here for the controllers. The controllers for the arm, it's in a forward kinematic, so I can't, but I don't have time to explain forward kinematics, but basically because it's forward kinematics, the arm won't follow the actual controller around. And you can tell how heavy this character rig is because of how slow it is to move everything. But I have the wrist controller for this wrist right here, but the actual layer is in this composition, right? This is the actual layer, but I've extracted it outside, and now I can use it, and I'm using Limber, and I use Duik to extract the controller. So yes, to answer your question, you can extract Limber controllers using Duik. It doesn't work perfectly every time, but for the most part it works. What you have to do though for Duik to recognize and understand what it's supposed to extract is you have to go and grab your controller layer right here and add this little tag that tells Duik that it's a controller. And you do this within Duik. So if I go over to Duik over here, there's this little tag right here. So I just select the layer that I want to tell Duik is a controller layer, and that layer may be not a Duik controller layer. It might be a Limber controller layer. So as long as I tag that controller layer with this tag, when I go to extract, Duik will extract that controller layer and all of its properties with it. So, you know, just like in this, I've extracted the right wrist layer. Where is it? It's right here. And now from outside of that original comp, I can change the size of my limb from this controller layer, and it's all tied to that original controller layer inside of the composition. So yes, You can use Duick and Limber together. Thanks for the question. That's an awesome question. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate the questions. I really appreciate the comments. And I appreciate the suggestions for things to cover in the future. Always looking for suggestions, because, you know, when you've been doing this for so long, you tend to forget like what you struggled with in the beginning. So that's not even to say that you guys are struggling with character rigging, but there's always more to learn, and so sometimes you forget like what those basics are and you kind of skip over them. So it's always helpful to have you guys kind of ask those questions and give suggestions on what you want to learn. Trying to think of any other questions I have for you guys in terms of how to make these live streams better. Because I don't necessarily think I want to do 2 hours every time, unless it's like a really detailed rig. Although part of the reason why this one took so long is because I kept pausing to answer questions. So that's what I want. That's why I do these live streams, because I want to answer questions. Oh, here's a question for you guys. I had some comments on a few different posts that were, you know, people expressing that they wish they could find just like a ready to rig downloadable file on like Envato Elements or something like that. But that they can't find like files that just like you could just throw into After Effects and be ready to go. If I came up with something like that, would you guys have any interest in that? I would come up with something that kind of has all the major components of a character rig that you could then customize to, you know, whatever character you're making. But it would have all the basic components all set up, ready to go, import into After Effects, and you could literally change the file. I just don't know how many people who want to do character rigging are experienced with Illustrator. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about creating some character artwork that you could just plop right into After Effects. You could modify a little bit, add a different shirt on the character or something, maybe a different facial expression, and then it'd all be ready to go for you to rig up, and you could hit the road running. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, well, I think that's going to do it for today. Yeah, Spoofy Ghost, that's the thing. It's like, I've gotten a few of those comments, but I don't know how many people feel the same way, because I personally think there's a plethora of character artwork out there that you can already kind of modify to work with character rigging. You just need to know how. But Some people really don't want to put in the time to learn that, and I understand, especially when you're trying to learn Duic at the same time. It's like kind of overwhelming. So anyway, thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll do another one of these soon. Go follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Go subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like the video. You know, you guys know how to use YouTube. You know how to you know how to show your support. Thanks for joining. Hopefully this was helpful, and we'll do more. We're gonna do more of these. I like to do these. I like your questions. I really like the questions. That's the whole point of these. I like to be able to answer questions in real time. So, till next time, I'm gonna jump off and go eat some dinner. But thanks everybody. This was fun, and keep an eye out for the next live stream. See ya.